Good morning, everybody. Welcome back. Through installment of Scott Selections here for Sunday, November 21st. Before getting today's play of the day, quick recap of what happened yesterday. We had a very nice day. Ended up giving out 4 plays, and I'll go through the results right now. So, starting off with the college football show, we went 2-1 there. Ended up losing with the Florida and Missouri over 69 at -108 on Bet Online. Even after overtime, the game was not even close. I'm shocked at how awful those offenses looked against each other's defenses because the defenses were awful going into the actual game, but it is what it is. Luckily for us, the other two games were very easy as we ended up winning with Western Kentucky, -9.5 and -115 on FanDuel against FAU, and they won that game by 35. And we had North Texas -9.5 and -115 on Bet Online against FIU, and they won that game by 42 points. Plus, for the play that video yesterday in the NBA, we had the Kings team total under 108.5 at -120 on DraftKings, and that won as well as they ended up with 105. So those 4 plays overall, we went 3-1 for plus 1.57 units. Nice day overall. Look for another winning day here on Sunday. But a reminder, if you want an NFL play, I already did the joint show with Scott Steen yesterday for the NFL. And of course, as always, I left a play at the end of that video. So check out that live stream, or now it's not really a live stream, but you know what I mean. And there is a play from me at the end if you want it. But looking at the actual play of the day for this video, it's going to be on the NBA because the NBA has done pretty well for us lately. It's going to be in a matchup between the Knicks and the Bulls taking place at around 8 p.m. Eastern time. And for the play of the day, we like the Knicks and Bulls under 209.5 at -110 on BetMGM. Time recording of 2:45 a.m. Eastern time. Coverage why I like the under in the spot. First of all, there has been a lot of movement towards the under already. The full game total opened up at around 210.5, and it's mostly available at 208.5. Shopping around, that's what FoxBet had, that's what FanDuel had, DraftKings, etc. And yet BetMGM still has 209.5, so I'll take the free point with no additional juice every time. But if you want to look at the Knicks in their last couple of games, they have been relatively low scoring because each of New York's last 4 games have had less than 206 points. So we've seen the Knicks in the past, especially last year with Thibodeau, play really solid defense and really slow the pace to a crawl. And after a pretty, let's just say, rocky start where they were relatively mediocre, it does seem like the Knicks are starting to once again reclaim their identity of playing a slow, grinded out style of basketball, which is why you have seen these totals fall pretty short over the last week or so. Plus, the Knicks did play yesterday against Houston in MSG. They won that game 106-99, but now they're playing a back-to-back with travel from New York to Chicago, and I do think that fatigue will set in the second half, which should result in a lackluster offensive performance for the Knicks, which is why the team total for this team is around 102.5, juice towards the under. But unfortunately for the Knicks, they're also facing off against a very solid defensive team that plays at a slow pace. You have the Bulls, who are ranked 23rd in pace and are tied for 7th in defensive efficiency. And I do think that with the backcourt of Alonzo and Caruso, they should really frustrate New York's guards because we've seen how the starters have fared for New York lately, and the answer is not very good. The starters have been underwhelming. Kemba's been a non-factor. Rose has been pretty hit or miss. But the guards have been, let's just say, inconsistent. And I do think that the pressure that the Bulls will put on the backcourt will definitely result in some sloppy possessions for the Knicks throughout this game. But if you want to actually look at how these teams have matched up so far this season, they played already once, and that game landed 207, which was under the total. Game ended up finishing 104-103, so it's very competitive, very defensive, and the game went under. And that was definitely not a fluke because each of the last 4 meetings have gone under the posted total. But to go through everything that I just said really quickly, I think that this line is going to continue to drop, probably closing at around 207.5, 206.5. The Bulls defensively have looked worse over the last week or so, but they were in the middle of a pretty long road trip, and now they returned home to the United Center where they are 5-2 on the season. But when you're having to go to the West Coast, playing the Warriors, the Clippers, the Lakers, the Trailblazers, and the Nuggets, I do think that you will look sharper when you return home in front of the home crowd for the first time in about a week. So I do think that Chicago will look a little bit, let's just say, juiced to play defense in this spot. And I do think that the Knicks fatigue will kick in, which should result in less points. Plus, the actual style of play of both teams, I do think will result in a more half-court centric type of game, which will lead to less fast break points, etc. So I think this game should probably finish around, I'd say 104-99. I think there's a good chance one of these teams do not score 100 points because of the defensive intensity I'm expecting to see in this game. But 209.5, way too high. This line should continue to drop. So the play that I once again here for Sunday, November 21st, is going to be on the Knicks and Bulls under 209.5 at -110 on BetMGM. Bye, everyone.